Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everybody. We are from group 2 and we will present about language choice. So, let's get me started. What is language choice? Language choice is triggered by factors such as social status, gender, educational attainment, ethnicity, age, occupation, rural and urban origin, speakers, topic, place, media, and formality of the situation. According to Rupert, claimed that multilingualism was the cause of Indian disunity and monolingualism the reason for the unity of the English-speaking world. What is monolingualism, bilingualism, and multilingualism? Monolingualism are people who can only speak one language. Bilingualism are people who can only speak two languages. And multilingualism are people who are able to speak in more than one or two languages or with many languages.
Now talking about the societal bilingualism, and I will explain about the definition and problem. So, societal bilingualism is broad term used to refer to any kind bilingualism or multilingualism at the level of society, organization, beyond the individual or nuclear family. The simple is societal bilingualism is bigger than individual bilingualism. Question is, what the problem of this? So there are three problems. First is person could experience language loss. Second is third nationalism, and the third is giving a problem a census operates. First is person could experience language loss. A society could gradually experience the death of language. The reason is there are several language they uses in the country. For example, in the Dutch have a three members language state. First is Netherlands, second is Belgium, and the third is Suriname. That Scandinavia could be possible lost their language. And the second is the third nationalism. As language are important, hold important to unity of nation, and nation-state are more likely to be stable than multinational ones. The development of a nation-state is more difficult for a bilingual or multilingual state. The last problem is census operates. A census operates under a limitation of time and money, and thus many phases of bilingualism, such as extent of interference between language or switching, cannot be investigated in any detail.
Now I will talking about benefits bilingualism. And the first point is increased awareness of other cultures. Being bilingual exposes an individual to diverse customs, ideas, and perspectives from different cultures. Of course, you can still learn about other cultures without knowing a second language, but language learning really allows for a more immersive experience. And next point is improve competitiveness in the job market. Speaking a second language can provide more job opportunities depending on which language you speak. Communication in the workplace is important, and more companies, especially those with international office, are considering bilingualism a high priority. And next point is stay mentally stronger for longer. Recent studies reveal that bilingual people's brains age more slowly and therefore they live longer and more satisfying lives. And next point is improve social life. Speaking a second language opens up a whole new range of social opportunities and can enhance your social skills and confidence. Put simply, the more language you understand, the more people you can converse with, and the more meaningful those relationships can be. And next is country the use of bilingualism is Singapore, Brunei, and Canada.
I want to explain my material about domains. So the first point is mean of domains. In research on the Puerto Rican community in New York City, a team of sociolinguists arrived at a list of 5 domains in which either Spanish or English was used consistently. A domain is an abstraction which refers to a sphere of activity representing a combination of specific times, settings, and role relationships. They conducted further studies to support their claim that each of these domains carried different expectations for using Spanish or English. The second point is the researchers. The researchers constructed hypothetical conversations that differed in terms of their interlocutors' place and topic. People were asked to imagine themselves in hypothetical situations where 2 of the 3 components of the conversational context were given. The third point is variables and bilingual. 3 variables were involved: topic, listener, and language. Speech was disrupted when the bilinguals were asked to speak in English about Japanese topic to Japanese interlocutors. Variable language use can arise when domains become unclear and setting and role relationships do not combine in the expected way.
So I am here to explain about diglossia. What is diglossia? Diglossia in sociolinguistics is a situation in which 2 distinct varieties of a language are spoken within the same speech community. An example can be taken from Arabic-speaking countries such as Egypt, in which the language used at home may be a local version from Arabic. The language that is recognized publicly, however, is modern Standard Arabic, which takes many of its normative rules from classical Arabic of the Quran. Now we talk about the high and low functions. The standard language is used for high functions, such as giving a lecture, reading, writing, or broadcasting, while the home variety is reserved for low functions, such as interacting with friends at home. Low is typically acquired at home as a mother tongue and continues to be used throughout life. Its main uses are in familial or familiar interactions. High, on the other hand, is learned later through schooling and never at home. It is related to and supported by institutions outside home. The separate domains in which high and low are required immediately provide them with separate institutional support systems. Diglossia societies are marked not only by this compartmentalization of varieties, but also by restriction of access. Entry to formal institutions as compartmentalized can be illustrated in the importance attached by community members to using the right variety in the appropriate context. Speakers regard high as superior to low in numbers of respects. The relationship between individual bilingualism and social diglossia is not a necessary or causal one. Either phenomenon can occur without the other one. Diglossia, both with or without bilingualism, may be relatively stable, long-term arrangements depending on the circumstances. English is specifically excluded from home and religious use. It encouraged only in a limited way in economic domains.
The main material is language shift and death. Language shift is also known as language transfer or language replacement or language assimilation. A change from the use of one language to the use of another language often occurs when people migrate from one country to another country where the main language is different. The speaker of the lesser used language gradually shifts from his or her native language to dominant language. In order to restricting the number of languages used as a media of instruction, language shift may be actively encouraged by government policy. may also occur when the main language of a region or country is needed for employment opportunities and wider communication. It should not be confused with language change. Language death is used when that community is the last one in the world to use that language.
The next is code switching. Code switching is defined as the use of more than one language in communication. Code switching is not only to convey conversation activity, but also to cover all aspects in society meaning. Bilingual speakers change their utterance into another language when they spoke. In code switching, one language is the dominant language, normally the native language of the group. This is sometimes called the matrix language. And the additional language is called the embedded language. The matrix language lays out the basis for the communication, and then the utterance from the additional language are embedded to the matrix language. There are various reasons that people might switch their matrix language to embedded language. Number 1. Directive function. People switch languages to either include or exclude other people from the conversation. Maybe you want to tell a secret, so you switch the language so the people around you don't understand, or maybe the opposite. Number 2. Expressive function. People include the embedded language in order to express some part of their identity. For example, they want to show their connection to certain country or culture, and in some cases, it might be expression of status through association with a prestigious outgroup. Number 3. Reverential function. Someone who is unable to express an ideas easily in one language, they switch to the other language in order to express it more easily. This seems to be very common among bilingual children and immigrant families. Number 4. Phonetic function. Sometimes a speaker switches languages or repeats something in both languages in order to emphasize it. Number 5. Metalinguistic function. It happens when someone reporting something in the other language or commenting on something said in the other language. Number 6 is phonetic function. The speaker says certain words or make jokes in the embedded language for amusement or some kind of artistic purpose. There are various forms of code switching. Here the main form of code switching. Number 1. Intersensual switching. It happens when the language switches for entire sentences or clauses. For example, a Spanish-English speaker says, "Sometimes I'll start a sentence in English y termino en español," which means sometimes I'll start a sentence in English and finish it in Spanish. Number 2. Intra-Essential Switching. It happens when the speaker switches languages within a clause or sentence boundary. For example, an English-Portuguese speaker says, I don't know o meu lugar nesse mundo," which means, I don't know my place in this world. Number 3. Extra-essential switching or text switching. It happens when a text from one language is inserted into another language. For example, an English-Japanese speaker says, "It's a good movie, Desho," which means it's a good movie, right? That's all that we can explain from language choice. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.